We see Mnuchin talking about Harvey relief, which everybody is in agreement around. Yes. Also talking about tax reform, which largely most Americans want, regardless of party affiliation. This feels like a layup for President Trump, a clear opportunity to put legislative points on the board. What say you?
I think it was the right move, the deal in which he made yesterday. I mean, I think for many of my conservative friends that have objected to the deal, you put them in this environment. The congressional Republicans put Donald Trump in this environment, whereas he had to get Democratic votes. My issue, though, with this is the optics. In addition to the optics, the fact that this particular deal, this debt ceiling deal, doesn't just have like a 3-month deadline. It took the cap off the funding, whereas you can rack up as much debt as you want. So in D.C., when do we actually cut spending? Yes. And that's a real consideration.
Obviously, and as you know, for conservatives, this looks like a disaster. It certainly is not a conservative move on the part of the president. So politically, is there going to be a consequence?
There might be. I don't love the deal. I can see why he did what he did. But look, the GOP Congress, they take off the entire month of August after doing nothing for 6 months. They parade back into D.C.
They need a break.
They parade back into D.C. and they expect to have some triumphant return by the president. So I can understand why he did what he did. You didn't get Obamacare done. You didn't get my agenda passed through. You're giving me nonsense on the wall. I want my tax cuts. I need some breathing room to do that. Again, I'm a fiscal conservative guy. I agree with you. Where are the spending cuts? I don't love the deal, but I can empathize with it because the GOP Congress is doing nothing.
And finally, the one thing they agree on is, we can all just spend as much as we want.
Let's just spend another $1 trillion.
We all agree we can just keep spending and spending and never address it. I don't know how the GOP can still, much of the GOP, say that it's the party of fiscal responsibility and keep a straight face. It's not. They just spend money on different things.
Yeah, but basically, nobody likes Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell. They run the most incompetent parliamentary majority on the planet. I may be being unfair. I don't know what it's like in the upper house of the Somali legislature. But in most of the world, by most of the world's standards, they have been complete incompetence for 8 months. And that's the best view of the situation. The worst view is that they are deliberately indifferent or hostile to the president's agenda.
So let's talk about that, Marcus. Some people have said that they feel on some level that Paul Ryan and even Mitch McConnell might be trying to sabotage the president's agenda. Whether it's that intentional or not, certainly their actions have not been comprehensive to support it.
No, I think they're trying to. They're trying to turn him. They're trying to turn him into a house-trained, normal Republican president,
programmable Republican.
George Bush Sr. They're basically trying to geld the wilder side of the president, and
they're trying to tame him.
Yeah, and I don't think. And that would be fine if they weren't totally incompetent. I mean, I can't get Mitch McConnell comes back after his month off and he said, well, we've got a lot to do. We've got a lot to do. We've got to ensure that we don't default, and we've got to fund the government. That's housekeeping. That's not doing anything. Right. That's housekeeping. Yeah. That's like trying to say, oh, I've got a lot to do this month. I've got to try and remember to pay the electric bill, and then I've got to remember to transfer $50 into my savings account. Well, I mean, that's crazy.
It is crazy. And, Joe, that's the thing. When I talk about legislative points on the board, when this president goes out to stump for people for 2018, which he will do, and they try desperately to hold on to his coattails because his popularity, at least with his base, remains intact.
Yes.
What will be the articulable point of legislative achievement around what we all know is a Republican-ran White House, Congress, and Senate?
You know what? I take you to my newest favorite book, Pretty Powerful. You may not have heard of it.
Let me think about that.
Substance to Success.
I think that comes out on Tuesday.
Tuesday. You can find it at Amazon, of course.
Yeah, okay.
All the talent, intelligence in the world. Well, all the intelligence, all the talent, intelligence, and hard work in the world doesn't matter unless it's coupled with opportunity. Of course, President Trump took an opportunity, and he's going to continue to take an opportunity to advance his agenda. We need tax reform desperately. This deal was set up to put us in a position where we can actually get that done. McConnell hasn't performed. Speaker Ryan hasn't performed. And I feel really bad about that because I fought hard, just like a lot of you, to get a Republican majority. So now we're in a position, and I know these guys. I know that they're legitimately good guys.
You worked with Paul Ryan.
Paul Ryan on the Mitt Romney campaign.
Yeah.
But the point of it is, now we're in a situation where we're looking awful, and you got people like Nancy Pelosi that's going around, grinning about this opportunity to work with Donald Trump and saying, hey, we pushed him on a deal. This is the deal that we presented to him.
Charlie,
Could you imagine if that's the only thing that they get done, they agree to spend as much as they want?
It's ridiculous. And let's talk about those
You don't need any other bills.
Let's get rid of all spending limits.
Exactly.
That's bipartisanship
Those
in action.
optics, and you talked about it. I mean, they look really bad. I mean, you see Nancy can barely contain the smile on her face. Schumer's grinning like a Cheshire cat. What's going on?
Here's what I can't understand is from where I disagree at this. I mean, he bartered a deal with the very same people that are investigating him and his entire business enterprise for supposed collusion with Russia. I mean, these are people that if an impeachment vote was brought to the floor, they would enthusiastically get behind it.
But that's how bad Ryan
No,
and
you're right.
McConnell are.
I agree with no
that even
argument.
Slimy, duplicitous toads like Schumer seem reasonable.
And this is so
is he a part-time comedian?
So I think what the president is thinking here is he had to blow up the traditional power structure. Paul Ryan does not own me. Mitch McConnell does not own me. I can go work with other people. I believe that was the motive.
Hopefully it works out. That's the point.
If he gets tax cuts done, it worked out. Absolutely.
You think this will buy him any political capital with the Dems?
That's hard to say.
I think maybe possibly, but not with
We need a whole other block for that one.